Call the meeting to order. Those willing and able, please stand for pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a motion? First off, I guess, are there any additions or deletions? Want to read them, Kevin?
The additions we have is a letter of resignation from speech pathologist Janelle DeVries. We also have the resolution relating to the sale of general obligation bonds. So we'll be doing that tonight, and also approving Mulebrook Talbert as our auditing services for this year.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with the additions?
So moved.
Randy, second. Brad? Dick? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Move on to the consent agenda.
There are no visitors,
No visitors?
right?
You're right. Sorry. Thank you. Is there anything in the consent agenda that anybody would like to have pulled out? Anybody? Nobody? Okay, then we will do the consent agenda, 5.1 to 5.13.
Excuse me, Jeff.
Yes?
I inadvertently put the monthly bills and treasurer's report in the consent agenda. Jackie just showed me that, so I don't know if you want to pull those and put them in a new business, or if you want to just leave
No,
them there.
nobody asked to have them pulled, so.
Okay,
We will.
all
leave
right,
them.
okay, all
No,
right,
I seen them there.
okay. Thank you, sorry.
Not a problem. Okay, we'll do 5.1 through 5.13. All those in favor of the consent agenda signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Oh, we didn't have, I thought we had a motion. Okay,
I might have interrupted you.
So moved.
Somebody motion? Okay.
Second.
There you go.
Randy, okay.
yes.
Sorry, I might have interrupted there.
Yeah.
And of that, I would like to thank the Earl Grace Legion for the $50 donation and the Athletic Booster Club for $4,646.82 donation. Thank you. Okay. Move on to 6, administrative reports. Jackie, review budget year to date.
We're at 85%. We can't, last year we were at 73%, but we can't really compare it because last year at this time we had the school board meeting a week earlier, so the payroll wasn't in there. But going through this, it looks like we are where we're supposed to be. Does anyone have any questions?
We still have bills from this year that'll be paid next month, and even into August, probably.
Could be. Maybe even September. Depends on people would like to send us their invoices.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Jackie? Anybody? Hearing none, move on. 6.12, Mr. Strauss.
Good evening. Two things that I want to bring up tonight. First of all, we started our summer school program, and just to let everybody know, our 5th and 6th grade program has 24 students. Our 7th and 8th grade program has 12 kids. Our high school program has 15 students, and we had 3 students for middle school STEM camp last week. So hoping for a little more on the STEM camp side, but we'll kind of get that figured out for the future. So overall, we're looking at 54 students that we have been working with, and will continue to do so through the month of July. The second thing is in relation to the handbook. Do you want me to talk about that now or later?
It's on the agenda, so we'll just bring that up then.
Okay. So I'll go through that later, and if you have questions about that, I'll answer then. So that's really all I have at the time.
Anybody got questions for Cory? No, I guess then we'll move on to 613. Tony?
Hi, everybody. And I was just going to report also on the same thing with our summer school. We have 50 kids at Hill. I believe it is approximately, let me see here, 17 in our 4th grade, and we have 17 in our 3rd grade and 16 in our 2nd grade. So, and then at Brown, we have 25 altogether, and we have 14 in our kindergarten and 10 in our 1st grade. So altogether with both schools, we have 75 kiddos in summer school and targeted services. So it's pretty exciting. They're doing a safari theme at Hill, so if you want to come stop over, you'll find, looks like a jungle with snakes and all kinds of stuff. So it's pretty cool. So, yeah.
Anybody got questions for Tony?
I guess for both of you, how do those numbers compare to years past?
It's about a little bit higher at Hill. It's pretty close. We were about 45, I think it was last year. And at Brown, we're up about 10. So,
Our total is higher overall, but we don't always run a 5-6 program every year. So when we do, we get really good numbers. My high school numbers are down. We're at 15. I was expecting probably low 20s at that level. But yeah, so high school's down, but we're up on the middle level.
I guess just for the teachers that we had, allocated to do that. We had a decent turnout then, or at least.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any other questions? Okay. Move on to Melanie.
Good evening. I am reporting on what our staff did on the days that we came back after the students were done with school for the summer. June 3rd, we had all of our staff, certified and paraprofessional staff, in attendance for a training from Martina Wagner on English language learners. I was very pleased. I have our staff complete an exit ticket at the end of each of our days together, and they just had, I just asked them, what is one thing that you're going to bring back to your classroom from what you learned today from Martina? And there are some wonderful tidbits that they were able to bring back, or will bring back to their classrooms this fall. And then we hope to be able to bring Martina back in October, just to continue, because it's like we did the 101 of EL support. We need to get to the 201 and dig in a little deeper. But overall, it was successful with our staff. Our paraprofessionals had some extra time as well, and they were our first participants in a campaign through Infinitec. They watched 20 videos ranging over behavior, working with teachers, putting the pro and para, just a lot of information that we can now use as our start for when paraprofessionals join our district. And we'll break it down for them so they'll do 5 or so at a time and move forward. The rest of our staff then met with me in either grade level teams or content area teams for about an hour and 45 minutes to go over their course guides and grade level checklists, receive any edits that they needed. We made plans for example, our technology team made a plan to make sure that keyboarding, the teaching of keyboarding is aligned in grades pre-K through 5. They worked, everyone was positive, they were happy to be here, and the time was well spent. I wish I could have that day every year with staff, because it was a nice way to kind of wrap up what we had been working on and push them out into their 2 days of flex time in the summer to finish their work on their grade level checklists and common course guides. That's all I have. Any questions?
So you said you wish you could have that extra time
Every year.
every year. So
I do.
it really was beneficial. process.
It was a beneficial process, and we'll see the end result of it. You know, on August 15th, everything needs to be done by then. A lot, probably, let's say 40% of our staff have already finished. They had to just send an email to me and their building principal saying, we have completed our edits on our course guides and grade level checklists. So, you know, people were positive. It was a good time to ask questions. It was a good time to make them, you know, ask a few questions to plant some seeds. And the focus was on the standards. So it was, in my mind, that's always a good time spent.
Okay. Any other questions for Melanie? Questions? Okay. Move on to 6.2, school board members.
As you can-
Negotiations committee is met and.
Policy
facility
committee.
Policy and.
As
we
you
got a
can
bunch
see.
of policies. We'll talk about later. but,
Old policy.
yeah. And then.
It's not old.
Facility steering committee is also met, so.
No? I think, and Randy and Amy, you can chime in here. Our first negotiations meeting went very well.
Mhm.
There's a lot of stuff to go through. A lot of stuff to look at. But I think both sides are gonna, I think it's gonna be a pretty smooth process this time. I really do. I think they know what they would like to see, and we know where we're at and what we can probably do, and I think we'll get along well. Facility steering, we're seeing some nice conceptuals. It's starting to get exciting. We've seen 3D conceptuals. I thought that was pretty nice. It's the start of the process, but I think it's gonna be,
Yeah. Pretty creative on all their
Yeah.
layouts.
yep. And you were at both of them meetings, Randy, so you tell me if you've got anything else to add.
No, I think with Kraus Anderson and ISG there at the same time, they do a good job of explaining timelines and
Yeah.
just keeping everybody on the same page about what's going to be happening. Seems like they're always 2 steps ahead of you when you ask a question. They've already thought about it or they've got an idea about it, so
Yeah.
I think they'll do a good job.
Any other school board members?
Katie's been the whole core.
Oh, yeah, we did have one of those since
planning,
last.
so they've had their 4.
Mhm.
The core planning team has had their 4 meetings, so they've kind of given a lot of feedback into, I think it's been very good.
Yep.
Ideas and kind of getting ready for that next phase, which is a little more detailed work, so.
Did it help to go look at all those other schools?
Oh, I think so, definitely, just to be able to visualize, because we've seen things we didn't like, things we did like, you know, so we could tell them, after we went that day, we kind of told them what the things we didn't like, the things we liked, so I think it kind of gave them a avenue or, you know, a path to follow, you know, when they're building,
Okay.
making the buildings, and
Good.
I thought it was beneficial, I guess. I don't know what you guys think it was.
Well, I think so too.
For me, it's good. It was good to visualize it because I'm not, you know, what I mean, I'm a visual person. I like to see what things look like. So
Well, the facilities we've seen weren't extravagant
No.
facilities.
I agree.
They were very usable,
Mm-hmm.
and the education space was used wisely, I thought.
Yep, I agree.
Anything else? I guess then we'll move on to 6.3, superintendent.
I just have, we had our summer projects pretty much set and everything's been going along. From our last core and facility steering committee, there's been some conversation about Circle Drive and when this new traffic flow comes up. We were slated to resurface Circle Drive and we decided not to do that if it does get torn up next summer. So we're actually gonna do out to Highway 30, use those funds and go out there because we don't anticipate any changes there. Construction is planning to use the gravel road as the, for the construction thing, so should be just normal traffic, and so we'll get that updated from basically almost all the way around the building here. But we're not gonna do Circle Drive, which we know needs it, but it didn't make sense to do
Yeah.
that, so. And as you can see, they were here today starting the process, so That's kind of where one adjustment that we have to make there. So other than that, got a lot of other stuff to get through here.
Okay, and we'll move on to 7, old business, second reading of activities handbook. Do I have a motion to approve the second reading of the activities handbook?
So moved.
Katie, do I have a second?
Second.
Randy, is there any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the second reading of the activities handbook signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. New business, 8.1, first reading of the learning readiness handbook.
Ms. Bartman, any highlights there or anything?
You know, we didn't make a lot of changes. We did put in the e-learning because we did not have that in there last year. So we have that in there. So we designated a page to that. All of our edits are in red that we added or that we changed. So, and really that was the biggest one that we added or changed, so.
There's a summary on page 93 under the changes to
Three, she said.
First reading, we don't need a motion, right?
Okay,
No.
perfect.
Any questions?
Nope.
No questions, then we'll move on to 8.2, first reading of elementary handbook.
That was me.
You got anything on that? Nothing on that?
Just e-learning.
Just e-learning.
Yeah, we changed also the schedule of the lunch to reflect what our schedule looks like. So,
Okay. Any questions for Tony on that one? Hearing none, we'll move on then to 8.3, first reading of the middle school handbook.
Very minimal changes in the middle and the high school. Sometimes it's hard to delineate between the two because we try to maintain consistency where possible. So what you'll notice, and I put this in the handbook summary, page 12, and that's on the high school side. The middle school one, I don't have a page number, but being consistent with extracurricular absenteeism, and that's students must be in school at the start of second hour, be present in the classroom for the remainder of the day. So consistent from the activities handbook into the middle and high school handbooks. We added information about e-learning days in both the middle and the high school. We just cleaned up a little language under the counseling part, which is on page 22 of the high school handbook again. And it didn't impact the actual policy, it just cleaned up the language. I thought it read better. We added the technology handbook in both the middle, high school, as part of the acceptable use technology, electronic technology, acceptable use, so that we have that piece in there regarding our one-to-one devices. Those are the main ones for the middle school, and they coordinate with the high school.
Okay.
The only difference for the high school is on incomplete grades, and we just organized our information a little bit better there to be clear about our marking periods and our expectations for incomplete fails and how those impact the student's transcript. So just bringing some clarity to end of quarter, end of semester, those marking periods, and what we do with incomplete grades at that time.
Okay. Any questions for Corey on the middle school handbook? Hearing none, then for the high school one, which basically is.
Sorry,
David
yep.
had said.
Yep.
Any questions for Corey on that one? Hearing none, then we'll move on to the policies.
The policy committee met,
Last week, Monday?
was it last week? Yeah.
Monday, right?
Yeah, and
I
they
see.
reviewed 17 policies. Our goal is to try to do about a fourth or a third of our policies, and so that you always keep your policy manual fresh. In July, you will also have a number of mandatory policies that need to be redone every year. I think we do them, Deb will have those ready for next month, but they reviewed 17 policies and they referred 15 of them to the board. And the committee had recommended just one reading of these policies because most of them are just very brief things. I don't know if you want me to go through each one, but I think I can do this fairly quickly if you don't mind, or?
I think just the highlights.
Okay. Basically, policy 602 is about school calendar and school day. Last reviewed in 2006. And the addition is e-learning. Policy 608 is on instructional services regarding special education. Again, last reviewed in 2006, and they just changed a title in the verbiage of special education. Policy 701 is about our school district budget, last approved or reviewed in 1996. I went through this with Jackie after the policy committee looked, and all the updates that were in there are already in place. So we've been practicing these. This is where your practices sometimes are more up to date than your policies, and that's why we should review these things every 3-4 years so you don't have that. Policy 702, accounting, 1996, and there was one statute that's been updated. Annual audit, 2006. The dates actually used to be earlier. They've moved them back, but we've already been practicing the proper dates for auditing. Been in place. Acceptance of gifts, 2006, no changes really in that. Transportation of non-public school students, 1997, and they had a title change in there. Policy 710, extracurricular transportation from 1996. That policy used to state what the guidelines were for using a personal vehicle to transport students. The new policy does not allow for transport of students in a private vehicle unless it's an emergency. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Policy 801, equal access to facilities, 1996. There's a statute update. Policy 802, disposition of obsolete equipment, 1996. The only change there is they changed the dollar amounts on what you need quotes and bids for, which was changed last year in state law. Policy 803 and 804, warning systems and emergency plans and bomb threats are actually to be retired because those are now covered in our crisis plan. So 2 less policies. Policy 901, community education, 1996, basically defines the advisory committee and its statutes. And policy 902, use of school district facilities, 1996, and the updates that we currently use or what they recommended were already in place. And then policy 904, distribution of materials on school property, 1996, and there was one statute that is updated. So those are the changes that the policy committee brought forth. They recommend you approve them in one reading.
Anybody have any questions for Kevin on those?
Or the policy committee members.
I've got a question on 602 with the e-learning days.
Okay.
Letter B says the school district may designate up to 5 e-learning days in one school year. I know that's the current law, but if that would ever change, could we change the language to be more open so we wouldn't have to go and read it again? To say what's ever designated by the legislature or something like that? Because it seemed like they were pretty open this last session to extending a number of days, so.
But They did.
They didn't, yeah, I know. But I'm just saying that if they
They were
would-
thinking about it.
Yeah, then we wouldn't have to come back and renew the policy if the language.
Just have it read as allowed by state statute.
Yeah, we can change it to that.
We can do that.
That's easy.
Mhm.
Any other questions on policies or recommendations? Any more questions? Hearing none. Do I have a motion to approve the policies 8.5 through 8.19?
So moved.
Lance, second?
Second. Katie.
first. Kate?
I got Katie first.
Okay, any further discussion? Further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, we'll move on to 8.20, approve resolution regarding board control of extracurricular activities.
This is a new state law that was passed this spring, basically bringing student activity accounts under the authority of the school board, meaning that how we get our monthly treasurer bills and all the expenditures, you've never, the school board or the public has not ever seen those because they're not in your board packet. So they will now be a part of our monthly bills. The process with student activity accounts, this is money raised to be used in different activities for students and directly to benefit those things. In order to spend those dollars, a student needs to sign off on them, and our advisors are the ones who can oversee it. So it's a change. I don't know what happened, but something happened for them to make a law
Right.
that says, you're now gonna put the monthly student activity account transactions in the board or be approved by the board, so.
So they can be within your other bills that you review, and it's
Okay.
not, it's not gonna specifically say high school activity funds, but
So you might see some things you're not used to seeing in bills. They're usually not huge amounts of money, $100 here.
like paying for the band or the DJ at like prom, because most of the high school activity accounts be your classes, and then like volleyball has their own account, basketball. And
Right.
we're talking, like your cash balance, your average cash balance at all our high school activity accounts, maybe 84,000. So we're not talking a big dollar amount. We're talking a lot of work for a small dollar amount.
And resolution to do something that's always been done, but we gotta do it according to state law, so. Can't vote no on this one. Be against the law. Somebody.
And we have a motion on that, correct, Deb?
No, you do not.
You don't? Okay. Do I have a motion on 8.20, approving the resolution?
So moved.
Katie, did you say so?
So
Okay.
moved.
Second.
Second by Randy. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the resolution regarding board control of extracurricular activities signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. 8.21, approve 2019-2020 literacy plan.
They're timing me.
Don't miss it, Ms. Bartman.
So, Ms. Bartman and I met to review our previous year's literacy plan, and we made very few changes. There are a few wording changes here and there, but the point I want to bring to your attention is on page 6. If you're able to scroll to that on your, looking at our reading trend data. It's warming up. We'll make sure our guests can see. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. So this year, we screened just like we always screen, using our FastBridge assessment system in the fall, the winter, and the spring. When you look at kindergarten, you will notice that the fall, we came in a percentage above where the last year's kindergarten left. And then winter, you can tell I'm taking our winter screening at any grade level for FAST as our most clear assessment because it was right before all the snow days hit. So when you look at spring, that's minus 14 days. So it shows that, hey, they went down a little bit in the spring because of those missing days.
Mm-hmm.
But look at the difference in our kindergarten from, I kept fall of 2016, 2017. So we have 3 school years there. So there's growth being made. And, we can attest that to many things, but the one that I'm going to attest a lot of that growth to is our preschool. And our junior K, having most of our students having come to kindergarten ready for kindergarten. So that's a big highlight on our page. First grade though continues with some growth. First grade started fall at 54%, winter at 75%, and spring at 78%, and that means at or above grade level. So those are good. When you look at, we've never broached 70% with the early reading with first grade. And first grade takes another assessment as well. They take the CBMR, for reading still, and they too have shot out of the water. They only do that in the winter and the spring. Because the early reading is fall, winter, spring, and this is just winter and spring because they're not usually ready for the concepts that are being assessed in the fall. So some great growth in our kindergarten and first grade. Our second grade is an area that Ms. Bartman and I are going to really work on this year. They've kind of flatlined over the last 3 years. There's not any real tremendous growth, nor is there any tremendous loss. They're just kind of at 60%. So it's an area that we will work.
Well, you're seeing some things that are happening with preschool. What happens is these students.
Right.
Should there be as much change in some of these areas?
Right.
Again, data, you gotta kind of watch this and trend it over. Even 1 year is what it is, but what's this look like in 5 years?
Right,
And that's
when we
what it
can
starts
see-
to tell you, preschool's making a difference.
Right, when we can see this year's first graders, next year, we can already start realizing what the preschool has done next year, looking at that in second grade. If you scroll then to page 9, our third grade, don't get too excited about the fall 85%. We only screened, we were following a protocol that we learned about through FAST, where you should only give the CBMR to those students who were below level on the A reading. So we were using the A reading as a screener, and then we did the CBMR for those who were below level. So that's only 22 students. So don't get too excited. Winter and spring are all the students. So then we went back to CBMRing all the students after that. They had some growth there with 55% being at or above grade level, where last spring they were only at 45% at or above grade level. So there's some growth inching up, which is,
Can't show that MCA stuff.
no, we can't show that MCA stuff. So we can't go that far yet. August, we can talk about that.
Erase that.
Yeah, erase that from your memory. All right, but overall, those are the pieces of data I wanted to show you, and I would ask that you approve this literacy plan. We made very few changes, other than the dates and a few wordings here and there. We feel that the literacy plan that we really worked hard on last year needs another year of implementation so that we can fully see the benefits without changing up everything again. So that's where we're at. Do you guys have questions?
Was this shared with the teachers, I assume?
This will be shared with the teachers at their fall data dig. Yep,
My next question was gonna be, were they excited about it since they haven't seen it?
they haven't seen it
I
yet.
get to see it here in August.
They could see, you know, if they took the time to see their data as it was coming in, that would be the only reason.
Which they do.
And so they can see it, they know it. But we're going to have a data dig at each grade level in the elementary this fall, before school
August, yeah.
starts, so we're excited about that.
But this is nice because you can see, you know, with it side by side.
Right.
It's easier to read.
So is third grade reading getting harder for them that we're not seeing? Or what's the,
You're gonna realize too that.
K1, 2 looks really good and then we're just
Mhm.
gonna flatline it.
Right. And again, that kind of can be attest to what we talked about with the preschool and the junior K and those kids moving up. So, you know, those kids, when they come in kindergarten ready, so that just proves how important that is when they come in kindergarten ready and how that moves the bar for everybody.
Mhm.
So I think we're gonna see that trend really move as we,
I think it's good that we dig into that, though, like you said, you're gonna dig into those levels, because you don't want those kids
Right.
that didn't have it.
Right.
We don't wanna just say, well, our trends are going up
Right.
down here, and that'll,
Right.
you know, you
we
wanna,
still got a gap to close.
right,
Mhm.
right, we
Yep,
wanna,
Absolutely.
Part of it is standard alignment, implementing the standards, but also we know that part of reading at grade level by third grade also includes coming to school ready to learn, because you just don't get it in third grade. So we went with that investment in preschool and 4-year-olds and 3-year-olds. We got a good turnout. We worked with our community partners. And so, I mean, they're in first grade now, or second grade. They're just, you know, that initiative that we started here 3 years ago is just starting. So right now, this is some very good data, kind of exciting.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, it was
hopefully
so
the trend
exciting to pull
continues
it.
What we're doing.
and plug it in and see it, I'm like, and I ran into Tony's office, and I'm like, look at this, we gotta meet on this right now.
I think when you start making significant changes, you know, I mean, we made a significant change in our system. And 30 points is a significant change. So if we can see 80% of our kindergartners ready to go, and that relates to, you know, 75-80% of our first graders reading at grade level next year, they're not trying to climb this mountain in
Right.
second grade, and they're not trying to climb a mountain in third grade. They're there and they're ready. So that's been the kind of the philosophy of what we've been trying to do, and it's, wow, it's early. We'll see.
And to your question, Lance, it's not getting any harder in third grade, it's the same standards. It's just that those kids didn't come in ready. And
That's
so
what I was
it's a
just gonna
constant
ask, so-
catching up
Same hills
race.
they're trying to climb.
So the third graders haven't been in
Correct.
this beginning stuff, so we should start seeing,
Yep.
because they've been in.
And to Katie's point, we're not just leaving the third graders lie. I mean, the third grade team has worked really hard to get that 10% difference this year. You know, they had a lot of fluctuation of students this year at that one grade level. You know, they'd be here for a few weeks and then they'd be gone and they start up, you know, but to keep consistency with their students too is very important so that they can keep moving forward without having to take steps back. So,
Well, it's nice to let people know this too, that K1, 2 has started our program and it's really working. And then they're gonna go, why is it third grade? Well, they don't, once we got to tell them that they haven't been involved in it,
right.
next year we should see,
Second grade should
something.
come up, and then in, 2 years, we'll have the third graders, and the state law says that all third graders should read well by third grade, which means reading at third grade level. So, that's our goal.
Because the research shows if you can read at third grade level in third grade, you got a really good chance the rest of the way through.
And then knowing math and being at math at grade level in fourth grade sets you up for success for the rest of the way in your education as well. So 2 pivotal years that are really early on, that if you're missing pieces, can make the rest of school not as easy.
And it's a system, not just that grade level. It depends upon everything.
Yep,
The
it snowballs.
standards and the vertical alignment and everything. And it'll go all the way through.
Well, looks like it's working good then.
Are there any other questions?
Well, the big thing, and I've always said this, the first time I got on the board, was we catch them down there.
Mm-hmm.
On the top end is gonna be, look a whole lot better for the district, and you're not gonna spend all the extra money
Right.
on top.
I can say firsthand, my, son was in the preschool program and how much he learned this year, but also had fun. It was really fun learning, and he enjoyed going to school, and those teachers do a really good job. So it's a great program.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Did we have a
Keep it
motion
up.
on that one yet, or?
No, I do not.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the 2019-2020 literacy plan?
So moved.
Lance?
Marcy's first.
Take a first and a second.
Marcy, then me.
Marcy Lance.
I'm in between my herd.
Yeah, I don't know. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the 2019-20 literacy plan signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you.
822, approve fiscal year 2020 budget.
Each year, school district must approve its budget for the following fiscal year by June 30th. Business manager Kennedy has prepared the general fund, food service, community education, debt service, and fund for construction. So we have all of that in front of us. She's been working hard for the last 2 months trying to pull all this together, so.
I have hard copies if people want them.
Oh, yeah, she's got paper
You want one?
copies, because
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
see, some people want them.
I'd like to, yeah.
binder.
You got it. Okay.
Binder person. Got it
She's
right
ready.
there.
Thank you.
What do you feel good when you're
Maybe Andy got the paper, I like it.
What's that?
See, now you have something to take notes on. You can probably take notes on that.
We have our general fund revenue and expenditures here. This is our main fund. This is where most of the operation of the school district comes out of. It's the largest, as you can see. We're looking at a $14 million budget in our general fund. Revenues over expenditures shows a $16,000 deficit, which is really much more balanced. I would say that we are conservative with estimating our revenues, and we are on the higher end with figuring our expenditures. So it's, as I've been saying the last 3 years, and as Jackie's explained to me, I'm conservative when I budget. So I feel like this is in good standing. If you recall, last year, our deficit was projected to be $900,000. So we'll find out where that, we don't feel it's going to be that high, but we will know more in our audit where that all comes out. But that's kind of where that's at. So if you do, you can look on the next page. Here is our revenue estimations, and you can see 20 budget versus kind of where we were at in 19. When you get the audit, you get the budget versus the actual, but right now, we're just kind of estimating and seeing where things are at. So these are all of our revenue sources, and you can see that we're slated to be about, budgeted to be about $200,000 more in revenue for next year than we were in 2019. Next page is our expenditures, which is, this is what you usually see every month in your board packet. And here you can see where the reductions are being realized, where some changes are. Last month, we reduced $600,000 from the budget, and that was in program and in supplies and a lot of those things that administratively we can take care of. We have over $700,000 or around $700,000 in reductions. Some of that is from Jackie finding some different things in some different areas that we don't necessarily have control over. Special education, transportation, we just come in, and so Jackie kind of is going by where the revenue or where the expenditures were this year. So sometimes, again, we budget conservatively, and so when we found some things, that's kind of where that came out. I don't know if you, it also does include a $100,000 contingency, so we do have that. I don't know if you have any questions on the general fund budget? The next budget is the food service budget. Here again, we are projecting a deficit of about $15,000, mostly due to the fact that we had lost 14 days of school, and that's revenues that didn't come in. So of course, you'll see on the next page, our revenue projections is about $50,000 less than this year, but that was based on this year's numbers. So again, we feel like we better not have that many days we're gone this year. So our food service budget, I think, is okay. You can see the expenditures that were about a $10,000 increase. In their contract, they have a inflationary increase, 2.5%. So we get 2% from the state, everybody else gets 2.5%. I don't know how that works. So this is our food service budget. Next, we have our community, this is our community ed fund balance. We have a fund balance in community education of about $181,000. There are three things that are included in community ed. This is kind of the community education, different types of revenues that we generate, about $259,000. Our expenditures, and as you can see, what we have in here, the programs that we expend upon, about $246,000. So we have a little bit of a surplus in the community education budget. Also in community ed is learning readiness. Here's our revenue of $156,000, expenditures of $194,000. So when I do say, and you saw some numbers earlier, we do invest in preschool, and so we're operating at a deficit. $37,000 is what we're estimating. It's been, Jackie, $40,000 to $50,000 we're anticipating this year. It goes up and down a little bit, but you know, right now we can cover it in our community ed fund balance, so it's not where we're in any trouble. But that will, one of those things that we'll have to kind of keep an eye on. We also have early childhood family education in the community ed budget. Here we have revenues of about $54,000 and expenditures of about $20,000, and so we have a surplus of about $35,000, which is what the deficit is in the preschool. But these dollars have to be used in these areas, so you can't use these. But maybe there's some things we can do. But I think it means that maybe we should be looking at, can we do more in family education? And if we've got this type of surplus, and if we're seeing that investment in our younger ones, maybe we should try to enhance a few things here. So we'll see. Here's a new fund that you haven't seen, the building construction fund. We are anticipating, and I told Jackie we're in the wrong order because you're going to go $28.5 million in bond proceeds. I thought the bond was 27.7. If you want to just wait about 10 minutes, we'll get to that when we do the set sale. But construction costs, we're anticipating about $3.75 million in construction costs expended by June 30th of next year. So we're going to have, you know, $24 million sitting in the fund, but Kraus Anderson will be putting out a schedule of when we'll be doing that. This was an estimation that they felt this would get us through the year. So, and most of this will be going to ISG and Kraus Anderson. So they will have shovels in the ground, but they figure that we'll have probably one payment in June to the construction guys. So their money's going to come in July and August and September. And then there's this one, the debt service. And this is the final payment on the middle school, high school. So that will be paid off. This is the last expenditure. There's $36,000 left. I said, what do we get to do with that, Jackie? And she said, nothing. This is welcome to the levy thing, and they make all those adjustments. We'll have $36,000, and that'll all get adjusted, and goes back to wherever, so we don't get it. It wasn't over, and the law requires you to have this little bit, so it is what it is. So anybody thinks we're taxing more than they're using, it all goes back and gets evened out, so, but that is there. There was some other things, some of that is where those dollars come up. Here you can see the ag to school tax credit at $840,000. So the state is paying on this last bill almost half of it went up to, that's kind of where that's at, so. It is what it is. You'll have to ask Jackie what this is.
That's just the principal payment off the amortization schedule and the interest payment off the amortization schedule.
We believe you. That
Then
is
why
our
did you
budget.
bind
That
it?
is our proposal for the fiscal year 20 budget.
I have a motion to approve the fiscal year 20 budget.
So moved. Second.
Randall Lance. Are there any questions? Questions? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the fiscal year 20 budget signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Move on to 8.23 and 8.24. Do we need a separate motion or just a combined motion?
Combined.
Okay. For the membership to MREA for 2019-2020 and membership to MSBA for 2019-2020.
So moved.
Which one do you?
I said so moved.
Not me.
Okay, I'll second it.
I'd just like to add that MREA is a very strong advocate for rural education. They've been a driving force behind the ag to school tax credit, equalization for their operating levies, and so that is the membership that we invest there, I think has really helped Pipestone area school taxpayers and our school system. They really advocate strongly for what's going on out here and really pull together some good information that we use in our different types of things. And of course, MSBA is the organization, the School Board Association provides a number of resources. We're going to use them for strategic planning services. And again, I think that they're just two great organizations for our school district to belong to. And just want to give them a plug.
Okay. Any further discussion on either one of those? Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving memberships for MREA and MSBA for 2019-20 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. 8.25, letter of retirement from Jenny Westra, paraprofessional.
Ms. Westra's been serving the school district for 20 years, and we want to wish her the best in retirement. Mr. Strasser, she worked up here in your building. I don't know if you have anything to say?
Yeah, I would just say that Jenny helped countless students throughout the years and did a great job in supporting them, help them meet their academic goal of graduation, because she primarily worked with juniors and seniors, and that was very integral. You always need that voice and that person willing to push kids, stretch kids, and get them to that point. So very, very pleased with the work she did.
Okay. Do I have a motion for the letter of retirement of Jenny Westra?
So moved.
Katie, do I have a second?
Second.
Amy? Okay, any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of letter of retirement from Jenny Westra signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. I'd like to thank her again for her 20 years of service to the district. 8.26, approve commercial insurance renewal for 2019-2020.
Each year we do this, just to go over, we've got our property coverage, and you can see the value of our property. We're valued over $53 million in all of our buildings, and those types of things. Here's our equipment coverage and what things are estimated at in the school district. Here's our liability coverage, crime coverage. Here's one that was just added recently, and I think I asked them to increase this, identity recovery and data compromise coverage. That's something that's kind of getting to be more and more of that cyber stuff, so we did do that. Here's our auto coverage, excess liability, school leaders liability, workman's compensation runs through this. And then here's our premium breakdown for all of our insurances. Total premium this year is $91,000. Last year was about $86,000, but we've had some property value increases. So that was where that's at. Workman's compensation is at $32,000. Last year that was at $41,000, so that went down. So we actually have a net savings in our insurance this year. So I just wanted to take you through that. I don't know if you have any questions.
Any other questions? Any questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the commercial insurance renewal for 2019, 2020?
So,
Lance, I'll second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. 8.27, approve garbage and recycling proposal for 2019-20.
We received two proposals, City of Pipestone, and Van Dyke. The city was $672 and Van Dyke was $950 per month, so
Okay,
need a motion to accept one of those two.
I make a motion to accept the City of Pipestone bid for garbage and cardboard.
okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Take your choice. Any further discussion?
I'm gonna abstain from this one.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those to approve the garbage and recycling proposal for 2019, 2020 for the city of Pipestone, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none. This will be 6 ayes, 1 abstention. Motion passes. 8.28, approve Superintendent Kevin Enerson as the identified official with authority to authorize user access to MDA secure websites for Pipestone area schools.
We need to do this every year, and MDE has a lot of data submissions, and in a district, only one person is the person who has the authority to grant others this access, and that is with your superintendent, so. One of those things we gotta do every year, just like everybody has to renew their access to the MDE every year, so.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Marcy, second?
Second.
Katie. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor to approve Kevin as the identified official signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. 8.29, resolution relating to $26,365,000 general obligation school building bonds. Series 2019A, authorizing the issuance and sale thereof, 6/24/19. That's the addition number, so. Okay, Kevin?
I got this last week, and it's at $26,365,000 in general obligation bonds, and I said, the election was for 27.7. So I was told, geez, you're very observant. I said, yeah, you should. I asked what's going on here, and basically, we're at a really good time right now, and we are getting some premium pricing. The so people are actually gonna pay for bonds. So in the end, what's gonna happen is that we're gonna get about $28.2 million for the project, so about $500,000 more than the 27 million. And the taxpayers are gonna have to pay back 26.35 million and not
Perfect.
27.7, so that's $1.4 million less that the taxpayers. Now, this is an anticipation, they say the markets are where they're at right now, and they feel very comfortable, but this is the authorization that they're anticipating will happen. This sale will occur on July 22nd, the day of our next board meeting, and at that board meeting is when you will approve the sale of the bonds. But you have to set the sale now, so. I don't know if anybody has any questions. Financial guys, they really work this stuff, so I don't, it's how it works. But if not, I will go ahead with reading the resolution and see if someone will make a motion. So, the resolution is relating to 26,365,000 general obligation school building bonds, Series 219A, authorizing the issuance and sale thereof. This board hereby authorizes the issuance and sale of its general obligation building bonds in the aggregate amount not to exceed $26,365,000. The proceeds of the bonds will be used together with any additional funds of the district which might be required for acquisition and betterment of the school sites and facilities as approved by the electors at a special election held on April 9th, 2019. And the rest of it has to do with Baker Tilly as our advisors, and they will handle the terms of the proposal, but that's what we need to do is accept this resolution.
Okay. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Randy?
Second.
And Marcy. Okay. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the resolution relating to the sale of, or the 26,365,000 general obligation school building bonds, Series 2019A, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. 8.30, approve Millbrook Talbert PLP to provide auditing service to Independent School District 2689 for the year ending June 30, 2019 and 2020.
Millbrook Talbert has been providing auditing services for as long as I've been here, and longer than that. I think everything goes well, so
Yep.
we just need to approve him as our auditor.
So moved.
Katie, and I'll second it.
Second.
Me or Brad, doesn't matter.
I got that.
Okay.
I didn't hear you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving Mulebrook Talbert and Company to provide auditing services signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. 8.31, superintendent's evaluation. At this point, we'll close the meeting. Or it's Kevin's evaluation. Do I have a motion to come out of closed session?
So moved.
Katie, second?
Second.
Marcy. Time is
14.
8:14. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Marcy, second?
Second.
Brad. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes.